Hello, book friends. Our modern world can be a lot. It's incredibly fast-paced. It's full of information being thrown at you at every moment of the day. And oftentimes that information is full of pain and strife. I know I, for one, sometimes just want it to stop. I want to escape. I want to slow down. And today I'm here to give you 8 gentle reads for hard times that will do just that. Hello, I'm Jen, and welcome back to my reading life. Sometimes we just need to take a deep breath, don't we? I don't know about you, but life and the world has been a lot lately. And whether you're feeling that way now, or whether you have felt that way in the past, or whether that feeling comes to you sometime in the future, I think one way to give ourselves a little bit of a relief and a break from that is to escape into the world of books. Books can be gentle, they can be calm, they can take us to a place where we can forget all about the worries of today. And so if you are looking for some books to give you that feeling of calm and peace, then I am here with 8 recommendations for gentle reads for hard times. Now, cozy yourself up, get a warm blanket, grab a cat or a dog, and a warm cuppa of something. Maybe pull out one of your coziest crafts and let us get into these books that I think will help to ease your heart. First up, I have 2 middle grade books. I think middle grade books are wonderful reads for when you're feeling tired, overwhelmed, you're not sure what to read next. I think a middle grade book can be a wonderful escape. Because even if middle grade books feature difficult subjects, they do them in a very kind and tender way. And you can rely on the fact that everything is going to turn out okay at the end. They're obviously written with younger children in mind, so things won't be too overwhelming to our adult selves if we pick up a middle grade book. I have one classic middle grade and one more modern middle grade that I think has a classic feeling to it. But first up is a book that is just one of my very favorites. I did not read it until just a few years ago for the very first time, and I have read it twice since, and I will probably be reading it again this spring, and that is Heidi by Joanna Spyri. Heidi is just perfection in book form. I adore Heidi so much. She has such an indomitable spirit as we follow her through all of her trials and tribulations, of which there are some, but we also get the wonderful breath of fresh air from the Swiss Alps when Heidi goes to stay with her grandfather, and just all of the wonderful depictions of nature by Joanna Spyri. The writing in this is impeccable, and I think this is a perfect middle grade book. If you are a grown-up who isn't sure you want to read a middle grade book, I think Heidi can be a great reintroduction to you to those books that maybe you enjoyed in your childhood but haven't picked up since. This is such a heartwarming and life-affirming story, and I recommend it to everyone. And my second middle grade book was published about 10 years ago and is utterly charming. And that book is The Adventures of Miss Pettifor by Anne Michaels with illustrations by Emma Block. I just love this. Look at that cover with Miss Pettifor and all of her cats. It continues around to the back. There are all of her cats. This is just the most, as I already said, charming book. And I'm going to read you just a quick little quote from one of the chapters. And I think it will just give you an idea of what the writing is like in this. It says, "It was a lovely spring day with the taste of licorice on the breeze and little green shoots shooting all about and tender tendrils all alive with leaf, and Miss Pettifor decided it was time to give her wee cottage a proper clean out." I mean, what is not to love about that? If you enjoy baking, if you enjoy cats, if you enjoy storytelling, and if you are fans, as it says on the back, of Mary Poppins and Pippi Longstocking, then you should definitely give Miss Pettifor a read. It is such a delight. It has beautiful illustrations. I cannot say enough good things about this book. I can't remember how I discovered this, but I am so glad that I did. Look at those cats. This is a book not to be missed. If you need calm and an escape, then definitely give Miss Pettifor a read. Next up, I have a couple of novels that are maybe a bit on the quirky side. I do love a quirky novel from time to time, and I have picked two of my very favorites that I highly recommend. Both of them I am overdue for rereads on, so that might have to happen very soon. First up is a classic novel that definitely has a lot of quirk to it, and that is Cold Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons. And in this funny, delightful novel. And in this we follow Flora Post, and her father has passed away and left her basically penniless. And so she goes to stay with her extended family, the Stark Adders, at Cold Comfort Farm. And Flora takes it upon herself to make some changes at Cold Comfort Farm. And she is, again, like a breath of fresh air. And I think the quote that Stella Gibbons used at the start of the novel is perfect for telling you what this book is not. It says, "Let other pens dwell on guilt and misery." And that's from Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. There's no guilt, there's no misery, there is just joy, laughter, hilarity. Such a fun read. Don't let the fact that this is a classic put you off, because it reads like a spring breeze. I just adore this book, and after you have read the book, definitely watch the movie adaptation with Kate Beckinsale. It is also lovely, but if you haven't yet read Cold Comfort Farm, it is definitely a joy, and if that's what you need in your life, then definitely give it a read. And my next quirky novel is one I never hear talked about, and it is such a lovely read and well worth seeking out if you can find it. And that is Bachelor Brothers Bed and Breakfast by Bill Richardson. This is such a wonderful read. It is perfect for book lovers. This is all about Hector and Virgil. They are fraternal twins in their 50s, and they run a bed and breakfast on an island. I think it's near Vancouver Island. Bill Richardson is a Canadian author. And in this book, we hear from the brothers, we hear from guests that have come to stay with them. We get to hear about the books that the guests read. There is some fun poems in here, especially one about the resident B&B cat. And if that appeals to you, I highly recommend giving this book a read. It is definitely one that is sure to lift your spirits. Next up is a book. Is it a cozy mystery? Is it a cozy novel? Is it a little bit of both? I think it's a little bit of both. And this is the start of a series, and I actually haven't yet continued on with the series, though I am very much looking forward to doing so. But I highly recommend this first book, and that is The Tale of Hilltop Farm by Susan Wittig Albert. And this is the first in the Beatrix Potter Cottage Tales, and we follow along in this first book when Beatrix Potter has just purchased Hilltop Farm, and she is just about to move there. And what is fun and a little bit quirky about this book is that you not only get things from the humans' perspective in the book, but also from the animals' perspective. Now, while the animals are to a degree anthropomorphized, they don't interact with humans. Like, they don't speak to the humans. They speak to one another, and you hear those conversations going on, but the humans can't understand the animals. So if you are thinking that maybe it's a book where you have to suspend your disbelief in terms of animals and humans interacting in that way, it's not that kind of book. But this is such a lovely read, and the descriptions in here of Hilltop Farm and the surrounding areas are just beautiful. It's got a very light mystery in it. The mystery itself, from my recollection, doesn't even begin until well into the story. But I didn't even care because I was just completely enamored with the characters, with the story, with the writing, and I cannot wait to continue on with this series. And I know a number of you have recommended other Susan Wittig Albert mystery books to me, and I'm definitely going to give them a try as well. So if you enjoy this series, you might want to seek out her other mysteries also. But I mean, anything with Beatrix Potter is going to be a balm to the soul, right? And my final fiction recommendation for a gentle read, and sometimes I find when life feels like a lot and feels overwhelming, I have trouble sometimes settling into a story. And I sometimes find that something short, like short stories, is more suited to where my head is at that moment in time. And I'm going to recommend a short story collection by one of my favorite comfort read authors. And I think you can't go wrong with any of her short stories, but I just picked one. Feel free to pick any of hers. And the one I'm recommending is Flowers in the Rain and Other Stories by Rosamund Pilcher. I think Rosamund Pilcher is a perfect, cozy comfort read author, and you can't go wrong with any of her books. While her stories are not without sometimes drama or interpersonal issues, or sometimes even some rather big life events that the characters are navigating their way through, you can always rely on Rosamund Pilcher to make everything okay in the end. So you can be guaranteed that all of these stories, any of her stories, are going to make you feel good by the end of them. So if that is what you need, or if you need some short stories, I think she is a wonderful pick for a gentle read for hard times. And finally, I thought I would recommend a couple of nonfiction books as well, because I think sometimes nonfiction can also feel a little bit more on the gentle side, depending on what you pick. And I'm going to recommend two, well, technically three, but really two books that I think are perfect if life feels like a lot. And the first book is Gift from the Sea by Anne Morrow Lindbergh. This is such a quiet, contemplative look at life and love and solitude and finding like peace and contentment in your own life. And if that speaks to you right now, then definitely give this book a read. I think everybody should read this book. It is so wonderful. Again, another one I am well overdue for a reread. This book is perfect anytime. It's particularly wonderful in the summer. And the reflections in here from Lindbergh are from time she spent at the seaside. So if that appeals to you, either now to escape the winter cold or in the summertime to embrace those seaside feelings, I don't think you can go wrong with this book. It is wonderful, and it will really, I think, give you a sense of peace. And my final nonfiction pick is by an author who I think has really made her career out of focusing on the beauty of life and the small comforts and the domesticities of life, and how all of those little things you can make beautiful in your everyday world. And that is basically the title of her book that I'm about to recommend to you, which is Living a Beautiful Life by Alexandra Stoddard. And the subtitle is 500 Ways to Add Elegance, Order, Beauty, and Joy to Every Day of Your Life. I love this book. I've had this book since I was in my early 20s, and I, pick it up and look through it periodically. I'm actually thinking this year I want to read it cover to cover again, because it has been some time since I have done that. I just wanted to give you a feeling for what some of the chapters are. So we have rituals, and then creating something special out of the ordinary. The kitchen, enhancing the flavor of good eating. We have creating a life with others, and the art of living at home, amongst others. But this is such a beautiful book about living a beautiful life And I think it can be helpful to find small ways to carve out beauty in our lives, especially if the world around is feeling a little bit chaotic or there are external factors in your life you don't have control over. Sometimes just doing some small thing, maybe like buying yourself some flowers, is a lovely way to bring peace and beauty back into your life. And then I have one little bonus recommendation for you, and this is also by Alexandra Stoddard, and this is a little book called Grace Notes. I mean, it's a very little book, and this is a book of daily meditations. It says thoughts and inspirations for a beautiful life, and there's a page for every day of the year, and at the top there is a quote, and then there are some ideas for reflection, and then there is actually even a space for you to write your own grace notes down at the bottom. I cannot tell you how many times I have read and reread this book. Apparently the last time I dipped into it was in June of one year. I have this little Mary Engelbreit page-a-day calendar page that I use as a bookmark in this book, which I have had in here forever and ever. And it brings me joy to open up this book and find this little page-a-day calendar page in here. But yes, this is so, so lovely. I'm not sure if this book is still in print or not, but I think you can find it secondhand. I will put information about it in the description box below for you. But if you want something, again, very simple that you can dip in and out of every day of the year, even not every day, just whenever you need to pick it up, this is such a wonderful way to kind of reflect each day and just get you thinking. I'm just going to read you the little grace note from today. And the quote is, "One word frees us of all the weight and pain of life. That word is love," by Sophocles. And then the two little notes are, "To receive love, be loving." And then, "What a world we could celebrate if we could learn to love one another. Try, and the world will go round." I think that's perfect. We're just going to end right there. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some ideas for gentle reads if that is what you need in your life now, or maybe just note down some titles for when life is difficult for you, or you're not sure what to read next and you want something calm and soothing. I think any of these books would be wonderful to pick up. I would love to hear from you. What are some of your books that you turn to when life is a lot? I'm always looking for more gentle reads to add to my stack of books, and I would love to hear what you all think and which of these books, if any, you're going to add to your own personal TBRs. Let us chat all things gentle reads down in the comments below. And if you're here but you don't have anything that you'd like to add, but you want to let me know that you were here, because comments really do help my channel, leave something gentle. I don't know what a gentle emoji is, but you pick. You pick what emojis feel gentle to you. Maybe that's a teapot. Maybe it's a sweet emoji of a puppy. Maybe it's a cloud. Whatever it is that feels gentle to you, leave those emojis down in the comments. Let's give us all a little bit of gentleness in our lives. Thank you all so, so much for being here, for being a part of my community, and for all of your lovely comments on my most recent videos. I appreciate them all so very much. If you enjoyed this video, if you could hit that like button and also that hype button if you're on the YouTube mobile app. And if you're new here and you haven't yet subscribed, I would love to have you do so and join my cozy bookish community. And as always, I'll be back with another video very soon. And until then, I wish you a good book and a warm cuppa. Bye.